Have you ever noticed it? Those subtle moments when he seems to push, to question, to test you, not out of cruelty, but out of curiosity, concern, and care. It's confusing at first. You wonder if he doubts you, if he's playing games, if he's unsure of his feelings. But often, it's the opposite. When a man tests the woman he sees a future with, it's because he cares deeply about the path ahead. Love alone isn't enough. A lasting connection demands clarity, resilience, and alignment. He's quietly observing how you handle life's pressures, how you treat others when no one is watching, how you respond to challenges and frustration. He wants to know if the love he feels can survive reality. Testing is not a trap. It's an unspoken measure of compatibility, trust, and emotional depth, a way of ensuring that the future he envisions with you is real, stable, and enduring. Seeking emotional compatibility rather than creating conflict is the underlying reason why a man may test the woman he envisions a future with. Testing is often misunderstood as manipulation, control, or an attempt to provoke emotional reactions, but in truth, it is rarely about causing discord. When a man tests, he is quietly trying to understand whether his partner's emotional world aligns with his own, whether she can navigate feelings, challenges, and life's inevitable complexities in a way that is harmonious and supportive. Emotional compatibility is not simply about sharing interests, enjoying similar activities, or having matching temperaments. It is about understanding each other's emotional rhythms, communication styles, coping mechanisms, and responses to stress, disappointment, and conflict. Without this alignment, even deep affection can struggle to sustain itself through the practical realities of a shared life. Testing begins as observation, often subtle and unconscious. He notices how she responds under pressure, how she expresses frustration, how she manages moments of anxiety or disappointment. He observes whether she can listen without judgment, whether she can empathize when he is vulnerable, and whether she communicates her needs honestly and respectfully. These are not moments designed to provoke failure, but opportunities to see how her emotional responses interact with his own patterns. Emotional compatibility is revealed in these interactions, showing whether two individuals can create a safe, supportive, and mutually understanding space for love to grow. A key element in seeking emotional compatibility is assessing reactions to life's unpredictability. Men are often aware that life cannot always be smooth, and a partner's ability to handle stress, uncertainty, and setbacks is a crucial indicator of long-term suitability. Testing in this context is about evaluating resilience, patience, and adaptability. It is not a judgment of weakness or imperfection, but a recognition that real relationships involve challenges, and the capacity to navigate them together is essential. Emotional compatibility involves shared approaches to problem solving, conflict resolution, and mutual support, which cannot always be determined through casual conversation alone. Communication plays a central role in emotional compatibility, and testing often examines how effectively a woman expresses herself under different circumstances. Can she articulate feelings clearly without hostility or withdrawal? Can she receive difficult truths without defensiveness? Does she engage in dialogue with empathy and openness? These are subtle markers that a man observes, often unconsciously, to determine whether a long-term relationship can be sustainable. Emotional compatibility requires a balance of expression and listening, giving and receiving, vulnerability and resilience. Testing these elements is not about provoking conflict, but about understanding whether these qualities naturally exist in the partnership. Another dimension of emotional compatibility is how a woman handles differences and disagreements. In any long-term relationship, differences in perspective, priorities, and emotional needs will arise. A man tests to see whether his partner can navigate these differences constructively without escalating minor issues into larger conflicts or withdrawing entirely. Compatibility is reflected in the ability to find compromise, maintain respect during disagreement, and sustain connection even when opinions diverge. Testing in this context provides insight into whether the relationship can endure friction while maintaining emotional safety, trust, and mutual respect. Emotional compatibility is also revealed through responses to vulnerability. A man may test by sharing personal thoughts, fears, or past experiences to see how his partner responds. Does she meet vulnerability with empathy, care, and understanding? Or does she respond with judgment, avoidance, or detachment? These moments are pivotal because they show whether the emotional exchange can be reciprocal, supportive, and safe over the long term. Testing in these situations is not about manipulation. It is about ensuring that the emotional foundation of the relationship is strong enough to sustain intimacy, trust, and mutual growth. Ultimately, testing for emotional compatibility is a measure of long-term potential. Men test not to dominate or create conflict, but to understand whether their partner can navigate life alongside them with emotional intelligence, empathy, and resilience. The tests are subtle, often unconscious, and designed to observe rather than provoke. They provide insight into communication, vulnerability, conflict resolution, patience, and empathy, qualities essential for a sustainable and fulfilling relationship. By seeking emotional compatibility, a man is ensuring that the love he feels is supported by the practical and emotional realities of shared life, transforming affection from fleeting passion into enduring connection. A man wants to understand how a woman handles challenges and pressure, because the way someone navigates life's difficulties reveals the depth of their character, resilience, and emotional maturity. Love by itself is not always enough to sustain a long-term relationship. The realities of life inevitably bring stress, conflict, and unpredictability. A man who sees a future with someone recognizes that the true measure of compatibility is not only in moments of ease or joy, but in how both partners respond when circumstances are difficult. Observing a woman's reactions to challenges allows him to assess whether she possesses the patience, adaptability, and composure necessary to build a life together, and whether their emotional patterns complement each other in moments of tension. Handling pressure effectively involves emotional intelligence, which encompasses self-awareness, empathy, and regulation. When a woman encounters frustration, disappointment, or setbacks, the way she responds provides insight into her capacity for maintaining balance, understanding, and constructive engagement. Does she become reactive or defensive, or does she process her emotions thoughtfully before responding? Does she communicate openly about stress, or does she withdraw and avoid confrontation? These patterns reveal whether she can navigate life's inevitable difficulties without causing unnecessary strain on the relationship. For a man invested in a future together, these observations are critical because they signal the potential for stability, trust, and mutual support over time. The manner in which challenges are faced also reflects problem-solving skills and resilience. Life is unpredictable, and a relationship requires two people capable of adapting to unforeseen circumstances. A man may notice how she approaches obstacles in daily life, from work stress and family obligations to interpersonal conflicts. Does she approach problems with calm reasoning, creativity, and practicality, or is she overwhelmed and reactive? Can she collaborate on solutions without blame or defensiveness? These behaviors demonstrate whether she can maintain composure and effectiveness under pressure, which is essential for the long-term sustainability of any partnership. By observing this, a man gauges whether they can navigate adversity together as a team. Patience is another critical factor in assessing how someone handles challenges. Life rarely unfolds perfectly, and the ability to remain patient with circumstances, with oneself, and with others indicates emotional maturity. When a man sees a woman responding with patience rather than frustration, it signals that she can tolerate imperfection, delay, or difficulty without escalating conflict unnecessarily. Patience demonstrates that she values the process of growth and problem solving, rather than expecting immediate resolution or perfection. This trait is vital in a partnership because it ensures that challenges will not erode the emotional foundation of the relationship over time. Stress management and emotional regulation also play significant roles in this dynamic. High Pressure situations often reveal authentic aspects of a person's character that are not visible during calm or comfortable moments. A man may pay attention to how she regulates emotions, whether she can pause and reflect before reacting, and whether she can maintain empathy and understanding even under strain. These responses indicate emotional resilience, a crucial attribute for navigating long-term relationships. By observing her reactions, he gains insight into whether she can sustain relational harmony even in challenging circumstances, which is a fundamental requirement for a shared future. The way she handles challenges also reflects values and priorities. Decisions made under pressure reveal what matters most to her: integrity, compassion, family, self-respect, or convenience. A man may test situations subtly, not to provoke stress deliberately, but to see which qualities emerge naturally when difficulty arises. These moments provide clarity about alignment in fundamental values and whether the relationship can function on a foundation of shared principles. Understanding this alignment is crucial for long-term planning, as it predicts the likelihood of cooperation, mutual respect, and shared goals. Ultimately, a man's focus on how a woman handles challenges and pressure is an effort to ensure the future he envisions is grounded in reality, not fantasy. He is looking beyond attraction and affection to see the underlying emotional framework that will support a life together. Observing her resilience, patience, problem-solving, and emotional regulation allows him to assess whether she can contribute to a stable, supportive, and enduring partnership. Love is essential, but the ability to navigate pressure and challenge together transforms love into a sustainable, lived experience capable of weathering life's complexities and evolving over time. Trust is earned, and testing reveals reliability and honesty in ways that words alone cannot. When a man sees a future with a woman, he is investing emotionally, mentally, and often spiritually in the potential of a lasting partnership. Love without trust is fragile. Promises and declarations can only carry a relationship so far. Testing is not about creating obstacles or provoking conflict. It is a subtle, often unconscious method of evaluating whether a woman's actions align with her words, whether her integrity holds up under observation, and whether she can be relied upon in moments that truly matter. Trust is not automatically granted. It is built over time through consistent behavior, demonstrated values, and transparent communication. Testing allows him to discern whether his emotional investment is safe and whether the bond they share can endure the inevitable challenges of life. Reliability is a cornerstone of trust. A man observes whether she follows through on commitments, respects boundaries, and maintains consistency in her actions. Reliability shows that love is not conditional, performative, or fleeting, but grounded in dependability and genuine care. He notices whether she shows up when needed, honors her word, and maintains emotional steadiness even when circumstances are inconvenient or challenging. Each consistent action reinforces confidence that she is someone who can be counted on, not just in moments of comfort, but in moments of stress, conflict, or uncertainty. Testing these patterns is not a reflection of doubt in her character, but a natural process of understanding whether her reliability matches the depth of her words. Honesty is another vital component of trust. A man may test to see how transparently she communicates, whether she shares her thoughts and feelings openly, and whether she acknowledges mistakes or uncomfortable truths. Relationships are built on shared understanding, and dishonesty, whether intentional or born of fear, undermines emotional intimacy. By observing how she navigates difficult conversations, he gauges whether she is capable of maintaining honesty even when it is inconvenient or challenging. Trust develops when he sees that her integrity is not situational, that she does not conceal information, and that she values truth as a guiding principle in their connection. Testing these aspects helps him determine whether their bond is rooted in reality rather than illusion. Testing also provides insight into how she handles vulnerability. Trust requires openness, and emotional safety is only established when both partners feel they can reveal their authentic selves without fear of judgment. ridicule, or abandonment. A man may intentionally or subconsciously observe her responses when he shares insecurities, fears, or personal challenges. Does she respond with empathy, patience, and understanding, or does she react defensively, dismissively, or manipulatively? Her reactions indicate whether trust can flourish between them, whether their emotional worlds are compatible, and whether the foundation for a future together is solid. Testing vulnerability in this way is not about control. It is about discerning whether the partnership can sustain authenticity, openness, and mutual respect. Consistency over time is also a critical factor. Trust is not established through a single demonstration of honesty or reliability. It develops gradually through repeated confirmation that words and actions are aligned. Testing allows a man to observe these patterns, noting whether she maintains integrity in both trivial and significant matters. Small, consistent actions, keeping promises, showing respect, responding thoughtfully, accumulate into a deep sense of trust that reinforces the emotional security of the relationship. Conversely, inconsistencies or lapses in reliability provide valuable information about potential risks to the long-term viability of the partnership. Finally, testing for trust and reliability is rooted in love and investment, not skepticism or cynicism. When a man sees a future with a woman, the stakes feel high because he envisions a life intertwined with hers. He seeks assurance that the connection is not only emotionally fulfilling, but also sustainable, secure, and anchored in integrity. Testing provides clarity, allowing him to distinguish between transient attraction and enduring compatibility. It ensures that his emotional commitment is placed in a partnership capable of weathering challenges, navigating conflicts, and maintaining stability. Ultimately, and trust is earned, and testing is a way to reveal the depth of reliability and honesty in a relationship. Through subtle observation, careful attention, and assessment of patterns in behavior, a man gains insight into whether his partner is capable of sustaining the emotional, practical, and ethical demands of a shared future. Love may spark the connection, but trust, demonstrated through consistent honesty and reliability, ensures that it can endure, grow, and thrive over a lifetime. Patience, resilience, and the ability to commit long-term are qualities a man seeks when he tests the woman he envisions a future with, because relationships are not built solely on attraction or affection. They are forged through enduring life's inevitable trials together. Testing is rarely about control or manipulation. It is an attempt to discern whether a woman possesses the emotional and mental fortitude necessary to navigate challenges while sustaining a loving partnership. Patience, in this context, reflects her capacity to tolerate delays, imperfections, and unexpected difficulties without reacting impulsively or with undue frustration. A woman who demonstrates patience signals that she can endure the natural ebbs and flows of life and love, allowing the relationship to progress steadily rather than being derailed by momentary setbacks. Resilience complements patience. Life is unpredictable, and long-term partnerships are frequently tested by circumstances beyond either person's control: stress from work, family obligations, personal loss, or emotional turbulence. A man observes how she responds to adversity, not only in the immediate moment but over time. Does she recover, adapt, and approach challenges constructively, or does she crumble under pressure? Resilience is not about perfection or the absence of struggle. It is about the ability to face difficulties, process emotions effectively, and move forward without letting negativity dominate the relationship. Testing provides insight into whether her resilience aligns with his own, which is crucial for sustaining harmony and mutual support over the long term. Long-term commitment potential is intertwined with patience and resilience. A man evaluates whether she is capable of sustaining a connection through years of growth, change, and unpredictability. This includes assessing her willingness to engage in difficult conversations, compromise when necessary, and prioritize the health of the relationship over immediate gratification. Commitment is reflected in actions rather than words, in the repeated choices to show up, communicate openly, and navigate life as a team. Testing reveals whether her dedication is steadfast and whether she can weather challenges without abandoning the partnership or compromising her integrity. Part of this evaluation involves observing reactions under pressure. When challenges arise, responses reveal patterns of behavior that are indicative of long-term compatibility. A woman who responds with calm reasoning, empathy, and proactive problem solving demonstrates that she can contribute to a stable, enduring partnership. Conversely, repeated reactive or dismissive behaviors may signal potential friction in the future. Testing in these moments is not a trap, but a way for a man to gather insight into whether the emotional, practical, and behavioral alignment necessary for a shared life exists. Patience and resilience also influence how a woman engages with emotional intimacy. Long-term relationships require vulnerability, trust, and openness, which can be challenging during stressful periods. A man observes whether she can maintain emotional connection even when external pressures are high, whether she can listen, empathize, and support without becoming defensive or withdrawn. These abilities demonstrate that the relationship can withstand turbulence and continue to grow rather than fracture under strain. Testing allows him to gauge whether her emotional resilience complements his own and whether the bond can sustain a lifetime of shared experiences, both joyful and difficult. Another critical factor is consistency. True resilience and long-term commitment are reflected not in isolated instances, but in repeated patterns over time. A woman who consistently demonstrates patience, steadiness, and engagement, even when life is complicated, signals that she can be relied upon in the long-term journey of a partnership. Testing provides the opportunity to observe whether these qualities are stable, whether they arise naturally, and whether she approaches challenges with a mindset that supports mutual growth and understanding. These repeated observations build a sense of confidence that the relationship is grounded in reliable, sustainable qualities rather than temporary charm or transient affection. Ultimately, testing for patience, resilience, and long-term commitment is a reflection of care, investment, and vision. A man is not seeking perfection. He is seeking evidence that the relationship can endure, thrive, and adapt over time. By observing how she navigates challenges, manages stress, and approaches emotional intimacy, he gains clarity about the potential for a future built on stability, trust, and mutual support. Love alone cannot guarantee this. It must be paired with the steady, enduring qualities that sustain a partnership across the complexities of life. Testing provides insight into whether those qualities exist, ensuring that the vision of a shared future is not only emotionally fulfilling but realistically sustainable. In essence, patience, resilience, and long-term commitment potential are the markers of a relationship that can endure. Testing reveals these qualities through observation and experience, allowing a man to understand whether the woman he sees a future with can navigate the challenges, pressures, and growth that life inevitably brings. It is not about judgment or gamesmanship. It is about ensuring that love is supported by the stability, maturity, and durability required for a lasting, fulfilling partnership. Testing is often subconscious, reflecting vulnerability and fear of disappointment. And this is one of the most overlooked aspects of why a man may test the woman he sees a future with. It is rarely about control, suspicion, or deliberate manipulation. Instead, it arises from the deep investment he feels in the potential of the relationship and the uncertainty inherent in human connection. When a man envisions a long-term future with someone, the stakes feel high because his emotional, mental, and sometimes practical life is intertwined with that vision. Testing becomes a natural, often unconscious mechanism to gauge whether the bond is secure, whether trust can be built, and whether his emotional investment is protected. At its core, these tests reflect the fear of disappointment, loss, or misalignment, which is normal when contemplating a shared life with another person. A man's subconscious testing often emerges in subtle behaviors and observations rather than explicit challenges. He may notice how she reacts in situations that require patience, empathy, or compromise, or how she communicates under stress. These moments are not orchestrated deliberately as tests, but rather are opportunities to evaluate whether her behavior aligns with his expectations for a sustainable, long-term partnership. The underlying motivation is the desire to protect the emotional security of both himself and the relationship. Vulnerability is inherent in deep emotional connection, and the act of testing reflects the tension between openness and caution, investment and protection. Fear of disappointment is central to subconscious testing. When someone envisions a future with a partner, the hope and expectation attached to that vision create emotional stakes. He is aware that a misalignment, whether in values, behavior, or emotional responses, could jeopardize the possibility of a shared life. Testing provides insight into whether the woman can meet the emotional, practical, and relational needs that long-term commitment requires. By observing her responses and behavior patterns, he is seeking reassurance that the potential of the relationship is not fragile, that it can withstand challenges, and that his emotional investment will not be undermined by unforeseen incompatibilities. Subconscious testing also reflects the delicate balance between trust and caution. Men who see a future with someone are often deeply invested emotionally, yet they are aware that relationships require mutual reliability, understanding, and alignment. Testing is a way to assess whether the woman's actions, values, and priorities are consistent with the vision he holds. It allows him to reconcile his desire for intimacy and closeness with the natural caution that accompanies emotional vulnerability. This subconscious process is not calculated manipulation. It is an instinctive attempt to ensure that the connection he is nurturing is real, authentic, and capable of enduring the pressures and challenges of life. Another dimension of subconscious testing is observing authenticity and integrity. A man may notice how she behaves when she believes no one is watching, how she handles stress, and how consistent her actions are with her words. These observations reveal whether her character aligns with the qualities he values and expects in a long-term partner. By evaluating authenticity in everyday interactions, he is seeking reassurance that the person he is investing in is genuine, trustworthy, and capable of sustaining a partnership built on mutual respect and honesty. Subconscious testing in this context is less about doubt and more about careful observation, ensuring that emotional investment is placed wisely. Subconscious testing can also involve moments of emotional vulnerability on his part. He may reveal personal fears, insecurities, or past experiences to gauge how she responds. Her reactions, whether empathetic, supportive, or dismissive, provide him with crucial insight into whether trust, emotional safety, and intimacy can flourish between them. These moments are delicate and revealing, and his subconscious evaluation of her responses is an essential part of assessing long-term compatibility. It is a natural mechanism for protecting emotional investment while simultaneously seeking connection, understanding, and alignment. Ultimately, subconscious testing is a reflection of care, hope, and the seriousness of the emotional investment. It is not a strategy to manipulate or control, but a natural consequence of envisioning a shared future with someone. The subtle observations, reactions, and assessments allow a man to evaluate emotional compatibility, resilience, integrity, and authenticity. By recognizing that this testing stems from vulnerability and fear of disappointment, it becomes clear that it is rooted in love, concern, and the desire for a secure, sustainable connection rather than mistrust or malice. In essence, subconscious testing is a protective and evaluative process. It reflects a man's investment in the future, his desire to safeguard emotional security, and his hope that the relationship can endure life's complexities. Through these subtle observations and internal assessments, he seeks clarity, reassurance, and alignment, ensuring that the connection he is nurturing is capable of sustaining the trust, intimacy, and resilience required for a lasting partnership. Testing is not about games, it is about understanding, protection, and the careful navigation of vulnerability in the pursuit of a meaningful, enduring love. The ultimate goal of testing a man sees a future with his clarity, ensuring that she aligns with his vision for the life they hope to build together. Testing is not about proving dominance, creating doubt, or instigating conflict. Rather, it is a subconscious and sometimes conscious process aimed at understanding whether a partnership has the potential to thrive over time. Men are aware that a long-term relationship requires more than affection, attraction, or compatibility in pleasant moments. It demands alignment in values, priorities, emotional resilience, and life goals. By observing behavior, responses to challenges, and reactions in nuanced situations, a man gathers insight into whether his vision of a shared future is realistic, sustainable, and mutually fulfilling. Clarity is critical because emotional investment carries stakes that extend far beyond the present, influencing decisions about commitment, shared responsibilities, and life trajectories. Clarity involves understanding how aligned the woman's values and priorities are with his own. A man may assess whether she approaches relationships, family, work, and personal growth in ways that are complementary to his vision. This is not about rigid conformity, but about ensuring that the core principles and guiding beliefs that shape their lives are compatible. Testing helps reveal whether she approaches life with integrity, responsibility, empathy, and consistency, qualities essential for sustaining a long-term partnership. Through subtle observations, he can determine whether her choices and reactions in everyday situations reflect a mindset and approach that supports a shared, harmonious future. Another facet of clarity is understanding emotional alignment. A man seeks to know whether the woman's emotional responses, her ability to manage stress, communicate effectively, and navigate conflict match the emotional rhythm and resilience he brings to the relationship. Testing reveals whether she can maintain patience, empathy, and adaptability under pressure, and whether she is capable of sustaining intimacy, trust, and collaboration even when circumstances are challenging. Emotional alignment is foundational for long-term partnerships because mismatched responses to stress or conflict can erode connection, trust, and stability over time. Through testing, he gains clarity on whether their emotional worlds can coexist harmoniously and whether mutual support is sustainable. Clarity also encompasses reliability and authenticity. A man observes whether her actions align with her words and whether she behaves consistently across situations and contexts. This assessment provides insight into her integrity, dependability, and commitment to the relationship. Testing is a way of verifying that her intentions are genuine and that she can be relied upon when life demands consistency, resilience, or cooperation. A woman who demonstrates authenticity and reliability communicates, without words, that she is invested in the shared vision and capable of sustaining the partnership through both ordinary and challenging circumstances. Long-term vision is another reason testing occurs. Men who see a future with someone are thinking beyond immediate attraction or affection. They are imagining shared lives, responsibilities, goals, and growth over years. Testing provides clarity about whether a woman can navigate those realities while maintaining mutual respect, love, and collaboration. It is a process of aligning expectations, discovering potential challenges, and ensuring that both partners are capable of supporting each other's aspirations while contributing to the collective vision. Without this clarity, emotional investment carries risk, as uncertainty about alignment can lead to disappointment, conflict, or miscommunication in the future. Testing is also about mutual compatibility in decision-making and problem-solving. A man observes how a woman navigates everyday choices, compromises, and disagreements because these small, repeated interactions reveal patterns that shape long-term relationship dynamics. Clarity emerges as he sees whether her approach to challenges complements his own, whether she can engage in constructive dialogue, and whether she prioritizes collaboration and shared goals. Through testing, he determines whether their partnership is likely to be balanced, equitable, and sustainable over time. Ultimately, the purpose of testing is to ensure that the emotional investment, commitment, and vision for the future are placed in a relationship that can endure and thrive. Men test not to undermine or challenge affection, but to gain certainty about alignment, compatibility, and resilience. Clarity gained through this process allows him to approach the partnership with confidence, knowing that the woman he envisions a future with shares the values, emotional patterns, and priorities necessary for a lasting, fulfilling connection. Testing is therefore not a reflection of mistrust, but a reflection of care, responsibility, and the desire for a shared life built on mutual understanding and sustainable love. In essence, testing exists to provide clarity, ensuring that the woman he sees a future with aligns with his vision, values, and emotional rhythm. It is an unspoken, often subconscious process that assesses authenticity, reliability, resilience, and compatibility. Through these observations, a man seeks to confirm that the relationship can endure life's complexities, sustain intimacy and trust, and support a shared journey that is both emotionally fulfilling and realistically sustainable over the long term. Testing is not a challenge, it is the pursuit of clarity and certainty in the pursuit of lasting love. In the end, when a man tests the woman he sees a future with, it is not about doubt, manipulation, or games, it is about care, clarity, and emotional investment. These tests are subtle ways to understand compatibility, resilience, patience, trustworthiness, and alignment with a shared vision for the future. They reveal whether love can endure life's challenges, whether intimacy and trust can flourish, and whether the partnership is built on authenticity and mutual respect. Testing reflects seriousness, vulnerability, and the desire for a sustainable connection, not mistrust. A woman who navigates these moments with honesty, patience, and empathy demonstrates that she is capable of building a lasting, meaningful bond. Ultimately, testing is a mirror of commitment and intention, ensuring that the love envisioned is not only passionate but grounded, reliable, and capable of thriving through the complexities of a shared life together.